This is one of the most sensational cases brought before the courts of Ghana. A tale of interesting power dynamics, lurid promises, and a relationship that exploded in the courts of justice. The case of Deborah ADABLAH versus Ernest NIMAKO and First Atlantic Bank became a social media firestorm, but the real drama unfolded in court, teaching us very crucial legal lessons. The story began at First Atlantic Bank in October 2020. Deborah ADABLAH was a national service person, a young professional starting out her career. She claimed her supervisor, the Chief Finance Officer, Ernest NIMAKO, used his position to pressure her into a sexual relationship, which she described as part of the toxic culture at the bank. In her view, the bank simply stood by and looked on unconcerned, while female staff like herself were exploited by senior staff and used to bait rich clients. When her service ended, and she and other colleagues were offered a contract, she said NIMAKO persuaded her to refuse it with an enticing alternative promise. He promised her marriage, money to start a business, a rented apartment for 3 years, a monthly allowance, a ring, and coverage of any medical expenses. True to his word for a time, he rented a 2-bedroom house for her in Labadi, paid her allowances of 3,000 cedis a month, and even provided her with a Honda Civic. But the relationship soon soured. She alleged that Mr. NIMAKO made demands that were more extreme, including requests for unprotected sex and unnatural acts that she refused. This caused the rift between them to widen. When they eventually parted ways, the harsh reality set in. The Honda Civic was not registered in her name and was taken forcibly from her, leaving her embarrassed and out of pocket for about 10,000 Ghana cedis that she had spent on same for repairs. Feeling aggrieved by all this, Deborah went to court. She sued to enforce the original bargain she had with NIMAKO. The promises made her had not been kept, and she had suffered loss, embarrassment, and denigration as a result. She asked the court to give her the car, to reimburse her money spent on the car for repairs, and to compel NIMAKO to pay the lump sum for her business, her rent, and the allowances. When the case started, the bank itself was quickly removed, making the legal battle a direct confrontation between Deborah and NIMAKO. The reliefs apparently were only directed solely at NIMAKO. NIMAKO's lawyers went for the jugular, asking the court to throw out the entire case. The argument was simple but devastating. Any agreement concluded between Deborah and NIMAKO was immoral and against public policy. They contended that the law cannot be used to enforce a deal where the consideration, that is, the thing being exchanged, was sex. In legal terms, a contract rooted in immorality is not just void, but entirely unenforceable. The court was in absolute agreement. The judge examined the facts and concluded that the promises of cars, rent, and money were made in direct exchange for a sexual relationship, with no other basis for the deal. Indeed, there was nothing on record to show that the promises were in exchange for any other service provided by Deborah. The court ruled that any contract which promotes sexual immorality is illegal on the grounds of public policy and is therefore unenforceable. With that, Deborah ADABLAH's case was dismissed. The lesson from this sensational case is that perhaps you must build your case on solid legal ground. Deborah may have had other legitimate claims, like a breach of promise to marry, or a case against the bank for sexual harassment, negligence, or even deceit. But by choosing to sue for the rewards of a sexual relationship, she stepped into legal quicksand. The law draws a clear line. It will not be used to settle the account of a relationship it deems to stand against good morals. This case is a stark reminder that in the eyes of the law, not every promise creates an enforceable contract, and not every broken deal has a remedy. Follow Super Law GX Studios for more real stories, real cases, real people.